Welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Jenks Aquarium Authority. My name is Corey Box. I'll be your chair. Today is Tuesday, January 16th of 2024. The time is 5:05 p.m. Happy New Year to every one of you that we haven't seen. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's start off with a roll call, please.
Murray. Here. Griffin. Here. OJ.
Here.
Rue. Brown. Montgomery. Here. Chair Box.
Here. Thank you, sir. Item number 1 is the consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of tonight's consent agenda. If any members of the authority would like to pull A through D for further discussion, you may. If not, we will accept a motion to approve it as a whole.
Move to approve.
Thank you both. We have a proper motion and second. Item 1, let's vote, please.
Murray. Yes. Griffin. Yes. OJ.
Yes.
Montgomery. Yes. Chair Box.
Yes, thank you. Item 2, we will poll. Moving on to item 3 is the Aquarium Campus Architectural Review Approval for High 5. You're on page 81 in your packet for following along, and this discussion will be led by
I can kick us
Mr.
off here.
Shrout.
So we've been in discussion with High Five about providing an entertainment venue with 42,000 square feet, 2 stories, and bowling, arcade, bar, restaurant, basically anything you can imagine entertainment wise, including a 36-hole mini golf course. And the renderings that were provided to the city council probably a year ago were kind of their, what I guess the design they've been using in other locations. We informed them that this location is within a specific use permit that has architectural style and design elements. I personally think some of the elements are outdated and that we should probably revisit them, but High Five altered their appearance of the concept to meet the design element criteria. And that was is what you see on beginning on page 81. And then you have the elevations of the concept on page 86 and 87. And it's very similar to the aquarium. And so as a part of the SUP, it has to be approved by the JAA, any architectural design of a building on the campus. And so this is where we are. And I think if you have any specific questions, Marseille has been gracious enough to come to this meeting and explain some of the more in detail, I guess.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Shrout. This is a discussion, so we'll go ahead and open the floor with Vice Mayor OJ. Do you want to, anything you'd like to say or questions for Mrs. Hilton? Just to kind of get the dialogue started.
How did we, I mean, I understand the guidelines as far as what they're trying to accomplish, as far as looking somewhat like the aquarium. This is completely different than what we had originally had seen from them. And I personally do not like it. It looks like an apartment complex. So how can we get around that?
Well, the first one looked more like a box.
Well, the first one we had
With
stuck
different
up in
colors.
rock and it was a little bit more water, which, but this is ugly. Nobody's gonna know that's.
Well, I would also say that this picture is flipped around where what you're looking at is actually now facing the north.
Yeah,
Rather than, because originally, or it was one of our big complaints with the original design is the back of the building faced the aquarium in the parking lot. So that's been flipped around where the 2 entrances are on the corner and, I'll put it in quotes, the front, because it's really not exactly a front when you do the entrances on both corners. Now faces the parking lot of the aquarium.
yeah, I understood this was the north side. because of the entrance here,
Yeah, but all that grass,
the west side.
I'm sorry, all the grass and all there's behind it now, not in front of it.
Right. I'm not really talking about the grass.
Yeah.
I'm really talking about the design itself. It's just not attractive. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Ogier. Okay. Go a little ping pong here. Mr. Montgomery, anything you want to add?
Well, I would say, we did the OAF, the executive committee, with a couple of other hangers on. And Greg Helms sat down and talked about it several times, and there was some back and forth with High Five. I guess our opinion was we like this look way better than the first look.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. Back here, Mr. Griffin.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that this drawing and this look came from High Five before that meeting that Keith just mentioned. So this wasn't at the request of OAF or anybody. They just had seen reference to the SUP and this was their attempt to comply. And so my question maybe for Merced is, we didn't want it to be too matchy-matchy. And so we don't know if there's facade changes in store that aren't represented on this drawing.
Sure, thank you. To the authority, I'm not used to saying that because I've never come here. This, we have online Mr. Brad Little, who is the person bringing this project to the city of Jenks. And we sat down multiple times. Teresa and I met with the OAF and the JAA, different representatives, and we just shared what does the specific use permit require. And the original structure did not meet several criteria for the code or for the specific use permit. And we asked them to rotate the building, which was a big deal for them, and asked them to come up with something that was a little that would fit better on the campus. And they shot this back immediately. It's my understanding that they actually really like the building. As far as color and texture, I think that it's tilt-up concrete, so that could be changed. But from a design perspective and from the UDO, this is much closer to meeting what is required by what is already approved in the specific use permit and what is required in the Unified Development Ordinance. It provides articulation, it provides different architectural standards and elements that were completely missing. The first one looked like a large box, and that's what it would have felt like when it was on the campus. This one has some actual different details to the roof line. It has different details. So when you're walking down the street, it would feel and look a lot better. I think that Mr. Little and his team has been extremely receptive, and they liked it, but they're probably also willing to change some things. We just need to make a decision because they're ready to go. And as of prior to tonight, I would say it was pretty well settled that they would do some form of what you see this evening.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part? Do some form of what?
What is presented this evening, that some form of it, whether it's white or whatever, or whether it's siding or rock on, different things, it would be some form of what you see tonight. And I personally, from a design perspective, believe it is a significant improvement from what was originally submitted.
Okay, since we're in the Q&A with you, actually, let's not, I don't want to give my comments yet. Back to you, Mr. Murray, any comments about the transition from the box to the party apartment complex?
No, I mean, I was talking to Member Montgomery about this because when I first opened this and I saw the concept, like, oh, well, that's looks like the aquarium. And that was the first thing that hit me. And I understand with the stuff that's going on there within the property guidelines that they do kind of want to keep it where it's not everything's totally different. I guess my question is going to kind of be if there's amongst one or dozen, how many High Five facilities are there presently, and how much do they all kind of represent? You know, if somebody goes into another town and sees a building, oh, I know that's a high five. I guess is kind of where I'm trying to go to, that they're not losing their recognizable icon, or if that's, you know, makes any sense at all.
I'd let Mr. Little defer that question to him. I think they have one structure that's similar to what was originally submitted, and then the rest were maybe infill in existing areas.
Mr. Little, we'll leave that question to you if you need us to
All right.
repeat it, but essentially he was asking, how does this alter from the recognizable brand that you currently have? Because in all fairness, this doesn't look anything like the original design, so.
Yeah, it does not look anything like the original design. So unlike maybe a Main Event or Dave & Buster's, we don't really have, so every city and every development is different, and every city and every development wants a certain thing. For example, Lakeway wanted a dark brown brick building. So if you go to Lakeway, Texas, you will see a large brown brick building because that's what Lakeway wanted. Allen is a lot of glass because that's what the development required for us to be on the front, and that's what you saw originally was the Allen design. And so then Mansfield is likely to have a amphitheater on top of High Five. The city wants a music venue, and they're going to pay to build it on top of our facility next to their convention center. So I'm just telling you, we will do whatever if the cities want, because we want to be good neighbors. And so when we were told that the box didn't meet a lot of the requirements, which was disappointing at the time because we kind of like, well, we kind of like that. But anyway, we talked extensively with Marseille, and I can't even remember who all's on the call. And you, Marseille, you can jump in. But we went back and forth. And actually, when I first saw this, I thought, and I told Marseille, I go, I really actually, the more I looked at it, and I knew it was like the aquarium. I can't remember exactly how much like it. It's been a while. Our two daughters have been to the aquarium recently. But my first thought was, I actually really like this design. It can be modified however. We're not going to force anything. We want it to be something everybody's proud of. But I even think, and I told, our partners, I said, this may win a national award because this design is going to be so unique and look so, I don't know if Martha Vineyard is the esque is the words for it or whatever, but it's very unique. Now that said, if it needs more elevation, if it needs more color, if it needs rock, if it needs whatever that you guys require, whatever your requirements are in the development, we're willing to do. Like I said, we're not trying to force anything on anybody. We want it to be something each of you are proud to point at, proud to go to, proud to show off.
Mr. Little, another follow-up question. Does this redesign, we had a box before. Now we have, I don't know if it's still a box, but what does this do to your footprint? What does this do to available parking? And what does this do, in your opinion, to your overall cost, this change?
Actually, probably because it doesn't have, which, we fought the city of Allen, but it is what it is. Glass is not our friend because in our environment with the bowling and the arcade, you want some glass, but not a lot. This may be a little less because it's tilt wall, which we love. Tilt wall is the best thing you can build if you can. It doesn't do anything to the square footage. It's the exact same building. It just looks a lot different. So if you were expecting the first drawing and you saw this, I get it, because that was my reaction 3 months ago, however long it's been. It's grown on me. Maybe it would grow on you. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. But nothing has changed. We've taken nothing out. It's just been turned, and the parking, Marseille, you've got that. Our engineers have just tweaked that to go along the street. We're going to have a shared parking agreement. Nothing has changed number-wise, requirement-wise. All that has changed is the design of the outside of the box.
Mr. Little, again, and I appreciate your answering on those, because it's very nice that you guys are able to, not necessarily concede, but you guys are at least able to work with these cities and with the people and trying to meet the criteria and stuff. Is there, and again, I don't know what the criteria is going to be, but are you able to put up a pole sign, or does it have to be on a sign on the side of the building to say high five? How are you able to distinguish, hey, this building is high five? Does that make sense?
The signage you don't see. The signage would be on the building, which is our logo. Our architect, for whatever reason, didn't put it on there. We have had discussion with Marseille about a monument sign. Honestly, I don't know if there's going to be a development monument sign, which would seem logical, where there's one sign with everybody having a smaller sign on the one sign rather than everybody having a sign. That seems like that would get to be a little chaotic. We're willing to do whatever. I think our signage, honestly, on the building will be visible enough from the turnpike that a monument sign may not be necessary. I don't believe in having one just to have one when the building is going to be readily identifiable as a high five just from the signage.
And Mr. Little, you did say I believe I heard you say you're proud of this design. You think this would win some kind of award? You're happy with this?
Yeah, I mean, at first it took me a minute, to be honest, because it's not what we would typically draw.
Yeah.
But because of where it's at, because it's by the aquarium, because it's by the water, because it's by the river walk, it kind of made sense. And I told our partners, I go, it's so unique. I think it may win an architectural design in our industry because there's not going to be anything else like it, good or bad. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But we certainly don't have to be finished with it. We could do some more tweaking if we know what the tweaks are that are being requested, whether it's color or elevation or, whatever.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I just want to say that High Five has been absolutely amazing to work with. They have literally gone back to the drawing board over and over with everything that we've sent them. They've been patient with the city as we developed a process for the conversation with the JAA and the OEF. And probably one of the best developer groups that I've worked with since I've been at the city of Jenks. They've been outstanding.
Great. Well, I will say this, and I'm not going to pull any punches here. The first thing I want to say is, Mr. Little, we are ecstatic. We can't wait for you guys to start. I will tell you that, yeah, we can't wait for you to be here. And despite what I'm about to say, don't let that rain on your parade. The image of the new elevation was seen today by 3 members of the council, and I think we all hated it. This looks, and I'll say this to you, this looks like SoCo with dormers and some triangles on the top.
I would disagree. I would completely disagree.
Wow,
I started recording like what?
Looks the SoCo rectangle with some dormers and triangles.
Oh.
The other thought process is, I don't necessarily know if we want the PUD and to really turn everything into the aquarium look, but another comment was, this kind of reminds me of, did you say the board apartment a moment ago? It kind of reminds me of Dwayne's apartment with the aquariums attached to the end of it. Not in love with the design at all. I'm not in love with the idea of everything looking like the aquarium, because the aquarium is a very old building. And I was more concerned that High Five is losing their identity with us asking them to conform to this look. What I would say is this, and I'm not trying to slow down the process, and I don't want to, but looking at the drawing, the color drawing, where I think you put the red hash marks where they could do some, I would be all for getting rid of the vanilla look here and adding some variety to it. It should not look like the aquarium. The aquarium is an old building. High Five, when it was really presented to us, is the Allen concept. That's the image that the people in Jenks, that's the age group, that's what they're attracted to, is that glass building. Now, if you don't want to build glass buildings, that's totally acceptable and understandable, but that Dallas market, that Dallas, Plano, Allen look is, I think, what we were kind of hoping for here, but so I'm not in love with the design, but I don't need to be. I really don't. Look at my house. It's weird looking. Not everybody likes what I like, but we didn't like this at all. And I would say, let's move forward and get them moving on this. But, I would be pleasantly surprised if some of the triangle pieces could have some variety, because I just don't think it does any good for High Five to look like our aquarium. And I don't think the aquarium campus needs to look like some master plan community. I think the eclecticness, I'm not sure that's a word I heard this morning, but I think, everybody should have an individual identity, and this looks, please don't put the flags on the top. I would say, it just doesn't need to be a mirror image of the aquarium. But if you still like the footprint, and if this design change doesn't add additional cost to your project, and if you're highly motivated and your team wants to build this, and I say build it, I just wanted to be candid with you that we weren't.
Our team wants to build whatever the city of Jenks and the aquarium board wants us to build. If you want more of an Allen look, that's an easy go back to the start, and then take that and maybe tweak it a little bit to whatever needs to be tweaked. We really have two designs. We could meet in the middle. We could lean more toward Allen. We could lean more toward what you see now. We just need some guidance that everybody can say, yes, that's good. We really do want everybody happy. At the end of the day, it's going to be something you guys drive by all the time. We're going to be there a lot, but I want you to not ever look at it and go, gosh, I wish that had been a different whatever. That's the last thing we want for anybody. So we just need someone to say, here's what the majority want, and we'll get that done and we'll get going. Because now's the time. We don't want to start and then have change orders. That's where it gets really expensive. So
I would say, this is what I would say. The council members of JAA who approved PUDs and the UDO want to respect the fact that we just can't willy-nilly ignore what we've already put in place as far as the design standards go. But that being said, I trust you that you guys can take this shape and maybe put enough lipstick on it to get it to the point where it doesn't look like the aquarium. And I don't think we would have to, I don't think you need us to look at this again, but I just wanted to be candid with you that this looked very plain. And to me, if I were driving by and I didn't know what a High Five was, even if I could read the sign, I would assume that this was just an extension of the aquarium campus building. And I don't know that that is what the identity that High Five was looking for. I think it should stand out and be something hip and cool. Main Event has a cool look. It's LED lit. It's got texture, stucco, glass.
Metal. Metal.
I actually don't know, but it's got panels and it's got color. And this has no panel, no color, a little bit of brick on the wainscoting on the bottom.
I would say it detracts from the aquarium.
Yeah, I think if you and High Five just took 30 minutes to spruce this up without adding additional unnecessary costs, because that's not what government is here to do, is raise the bill. But I think this could be a very attractive, even more attractive building that meets the goals of Mr. Little and all of us. And frankly, it's going to be sitting on that real estate for 50 to 75 years. And we were just hoping it could be a little more dressed up than this, but without driving up the cost. And if Mr. Alexopoulos looks like he wants to speak, so we'll recommend you, sir.
Yeah, sorry to butt in, but I agree with you 100%. I think that it actually.
Speaking to either that side at this point.
Help me out here. Are we on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think actually it detracts from the aquarium. One of the things that I think is exciting, I mean, people drive by and only have a split second to see what's going on over there. And I think if everything looks the same, there's nothing that catches people's eyes. I think it's a lot more fun when there's some individuality. Like when you go to Vegas, if every building looked exactly the same, you wouldn't even know where to go. So if things look a little different, have some individuality, I think it's a lot more exciting, and it'll actually, the aquarium will stand out more. If everything looks like the aquarium, I don't believe eyes will necessarily be drawn to our building, you know, with curiosity or interest, because everything will kind of look the same. And also, the vinyl, if we had to do it all over again, we definitely wouldn't do the vinyl. It's been a maintenance nightmare, trying to keep it clean. That area gets a lot of cobwebs and spiders and dust, and it is just nonstop power washing. So that's kind of my 2 cents in it. And also the flags, we're even considering changing that to sharks instead of red flags. So that might be irrelevant, as well. So it's just something to consider, that maybe trying too hard isn't necessarily a good thing. That's all I just had to say on that.
Well, my biggest thing is, I don't want, just like what the mayor said, was for High Five to lose our identity. And I mean, when you look over there, you see High Five and you know that's what it is,
Right,
then you're gonna be more apt to, but you're right, it doesn't, it just kind of blends.
right. I think it looks like there's more to do when things have their own
Right.
flair. And also, wow, okay, you're looking really quick and you see these different things. And then the aquarium is it's original on its own, and you're drawn to the aquarium. Well, what's that? You know? So, again, I'm not a developer, by any means, or an architect. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Kenny. Any other comments from, yes, sir?
Yeah, and I echo some of the same thoughts, specifically, or for example, when we met a couple times, again, as non-architects and not even knowing what is the Jenks code or what is the SUP guidelines. And so basically, once we heard the code and that the original really had some pieces that didn't comply and why, our focus was just on the concepts of walkability and human scale, not on the design.
Sure.
Now, before, or kind of in passing, when those communications were made, this was, I believe, the developer's attempt to redesign according to the SUP. But I think we're even talking about maybe the SUP could stand to be revised at some point, because Cape Cod and Victorian isn't necessarily what we want everything to look. So I would say from the some of the OAF members, just that and with Greg Helm's input, just that nod to human scale, nod to walkability, maybe make it look like it's 2 stories, but I sort of expected to see something between this and the original design.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think the walkability and all of that is still most important. The most important thing is the survival and welfare of the aquarium. And I think this is detrimental to that. The aquarium is the most important asset we have. And any building that looks too much like it, in my snap judgment, just doesn't do a service to the aquarium. But that's just me. So is this a discussion or an approval? Are we voting on this?
Well, I'm gonna ask, my feelings are not hurt in the least. What I would ask, is to, at some point this week or next week, have a call with our architect and whoever wants to be on that call, so that we could have a 30-minute call or whatever and kind of all get on the same page so that we know where we're going, and then we'll get there. But I think what hinders this somewhat, and through no fault of anybody, honestly, your staff has been wonderful to work with, very responsive, giving us direction. But email is hard to get there because it just takes time for people to respond sometimes. And then when they respond, they're not thinking the same way as the other person who emailed. So I really think if we could have a call with all interested parties that want to be on there, so they've got our architect and us on there, and we hear it, and maybe our architect can even play with it while he can share his screen and we can tweak. I think we could get there quickly, and then we get this behind us. And this is honestly the fun part, as agonizing as it is, because once we start building, then it gets really hard. So we don't want to, like I said, we don't want change orders on design. We want to go in knowing this is what it's going to look like. And so do you. So.
Well, thank you, Mr. Little. I'd love to be a part of that call, and not from the perspective, believe me, the council is not, it's not our desire to micromanage architecture. But in the end, 10 years from now, we're all going to look at a building and say, I remember the day we approved that, and maybe we should have just asked for a few tweaks or a few touches. So that sounds like a reasonable request. I would hope all of us could be available to join that call. And frankly, like I said a moment ago, I trust you and you to make that decision. I think this could just be backed up a little bit and made a little prettier. Doesn't have to go back to the glass box or way past that, I guess. But this, like I said, this is going to be there for 50, 75, who knows how long, many years. Don't think it needs to look like the aquarium. I think this looks too much like it. That's all I'll say. I don't want to beat that horse too much. Any other comments from the trustees? All right, we will go ahead and close the floor. Any other comments from Mrs. Hilton? Mr. Alexopoulos? Last call, Mr. Little. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. We're ecstatic to partner with you, and believe me, we just want to see some shovels going. So hopefully we'll get there very soon.
We will.
All right.
We will. Thank you.
So we are back on our agenda. We are on item number 3. Good, healthy discussion. I guess we would need a motion to entertain some approval of whatever we just discussed. I don't know.
Do you want me to make a suggestion?
I would like a suggestion because I don't think we agreed on anything.
If you wanted to take action, you could authorize the chairperson to approve upon additional conversations and approval by the city planner, something along those lines. After modifications as approved by city planner, something like that. Or
that would be more expedient than not voting at all and kicking this for another month. And do you feel like you could have a final in the next 2 weeks that you and Mr. Little can agree on, everyone? That would be acceptable.
Approve of the site plan. Minor details related to the facade will be approved by the city planner or city manager or general manager or COO, whatever it may be. But because the site plan is part of this. I mean, the site plan, we approved the site plan, and there'll be some minor modifications to the facade.
Well, and it still will require the OAF approval also. Yeah, as part of this special use permit, as part of that architectural committee, that's the OAF also needs to vote on it. Only that's been delegated to the executive committee in one of our meetings.
Well, I don't have that in front of me, but regardless, this body, I'm saying, is approving that.
Yeah.
I mean, OAF can approve or disapprove, but.
Basically, if you go back to your original approval that the council went through, I believe there were 7 or 8 steps that were laid out that needed to occur. And the first one of those was basically for the OAF approval.
Of the architectural plan?
Yes.
that is in the contract.
And you've done that?
No, we have not, because this was still, we were planning to do it based on what we had seen. So they were trying to schedule an executive committee meeting this week or early next week. But if it's changing, they're going to have to look at it and see what is it changing to.
What percentage of change do you think would require you guys to reconvene?
Well, I can just tell you that,
We
well,
hate the dormers. Do you guys want to have a special meeting to approve this? again?
no, it's the executive committee has been delegated that by the OAF. So it's just the executive committee that needs to vote on it.
Okay,
I will tell you that, while several people here loved the glass box, we hate the glass box. So, what's the compromise between the two offhand? I don't know. But it also goes directly against some of the stuff of the design specifications that are laid out in the special use that covers the campus. So, we've got some dueling things here. But I'm just telling you, that's part of the process for it to get through all the approvals.
so assuming this group tonight gives conditional approval based on slight modifications that are agreed upon by city planner and general manager the next week or two, when do you think you can convene an executive committee meeting?
Well, that's up to the president, because I'm not on the executive committee.
Oh,
But there was an email being pushed around to try to schedule it sometime this week or next.
Okay.
But I don't know if that got done or.
still just five, is there five on the executive committee? Are you still on? Are you?
No, it's just all.
Okay. Did you have a lot? I saw you left your mic. Did you have a?
Well, I think what we're talking about is page 81 on our agenda tonight, which is the agreement that JAA and OAF has to sign.
Yeah.
So
Correct, yeah.
this is the first time, or since this agenda was distributed, the first time I've seen this design as the current design.
Yeah.
So obviously OAF has not seen what the current design is.
Yeah, we sent that
So
out.
no
after we
approval
got
can
it.
simply take place. Now that we know what the design is with the pending edits, then we can have that conversation, but I expect
Well,
we can have an EC meeting in short order.
yeah, well, we can approve going forward with the conditions, and then all we need is Carol and then that entity to approve.
Yeah, I just wanted you to
Okay,
be
yeah.
sure to remind you of how that process was
Sure, yeah,
laid out. So,
no problem with that at all.
But I mean, even per 81, we're talking about a release showing approval of a project located on the campus, which shows a landscape plan, location of the building, direction of front facing of such building, and then facade, exterior color scheme and material. I mean, that's kind of vague. And that's what I'm saying, is if you guys haven't voted, and in your opinion, it's the first step, then
well, when
We
we
can-
got this, we sent it out to the executive committee so they could see what was on the agenda and see the new, the, not the necessarily rendering, but the, whatever you call the elevations. I can just remember what the term was. So that's technically the first time they've seen it, although it's in line with what we discussed based on that rendering, just flipped around. So, we had seen that. And I don't think we're opposed. I don't think as a group, there'd be a whole lot of opposition to some changes around it.
yeah, as I tried to say, like just minor modifications.
But again, the executive committee needs to approve it.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, if it's approved by the executive committee, whatever actions taken tonight, if it's minor modifications approved by the planner,
Yeah.
approved by the general manager, whoever it is, COO, chair of this committee, what we're doing is saying, we approved the site plan. There's been discussion about maybe there's going to be changes to the facade. OAF still has to vote on the facade anyways. OAF may want minor modifications to this, who knows? But if we can just assign the authority, if we view it as minor modifications to the COO, the planner, the chair of this committee, me, whoever, just to kind of move.
Yeah, I guess, Chris, the only thing I'm saying is this group can do whatever this group does and the city does. There's still another process.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think that whatever motion that I proposed would take into account any changes coming from the OAF.
Okay. Well, we work it out later.
Yeah.
I would say, whoever wants to take on the challenge of making that motion that Teresa suggested about 7 minutes ago, knock yourself out. I never have to make motions. Yeah, I did for a long time. I think it's in the vice mayor's job description, making a tough motion.
Actually,
I see the ropes or sometimes, you know,
no, these are my own notes.
trying to repeat.
I mean, I can try and do it.
Let's go ahead and hear a motion, and if we don't like it, we can ask for a modification. Because you're the boss.
Make a motion to approve the architectural design and site plan, subject to minor modifications and approval by the OAF. Okay, well then don't.
We can leave that for
It's already.
So basically, motion to approve item number 3 for the aquarium campus architectural review for high five, with the exception of minor modifications with the approval of city staff. Is that how you want me to word that?
City planner.
City planner.
Okay, I accept that proper motion in a second to approve the architectural design on item number 3. And vote, please.
Murray? Yes. Griffin? Yes. O'Shea?
Yes.
Montgomery?
Yes.
Chairbox?
Yes, Mr. Little, thank you very much. Appreciate your patience. Can't wait to see you again. Okay, moving on to item number 4 is the amendment and partial release of lease between the city of Jenks and the Jenks Aquarium Authority for land on Oklahoma Aquarium Campus plat. We are on page 89, if you're following along, and Mr. Rout or Mrs. Nolan. Get started.
The land that we're proposing high five locate is within it's owned by the city of Jenks, but leased to the JAA for 99 years. So it's leased to the aquarium essentially until something like 2101. And this amendment and partial release of the lease would remove this portion of land from that lease. And then item 5 would be a resolution to declare the land that we're proposing high five to locate on as surplus. And Teresa, you can.
Well, and it's surplus with respect to the aquarium revenue bonds. It removes it from the pledge for the bonds, so it's no longer collateral for the aquarium's bonds. So it's a different surplus procedure than what the city council will be asked to do.
That was crystal clear. Any questions for Mr. Shroud and Mrs. Nolan before we release this under your lease? Mr. Montgomery, did you have a question? I'm sorry, Mr. Griffin.
Just one question. I've seen 2 different numbers for the acreage for this high five site. An original number of 3.52 acres, but on the current site plan it says 4.61. And so my question is, which one is it? And if it's the greater one, then that would affect some of the, figures in these agreements, in these releases.
So Mr. Griffin, documentation on page 91 shows 3.52. Where was you had
The site plan.
what page is the site plan on? If you don't mind me asking.
The previous page, I believe, so 88.
88, okay.
And if you look at the table, lot area 4.61.
It's that little table.
The lower right table.
You think we can see some of there? Where are you?
Yeah, it's line 3 on the table.
Oh, I got you, okay. Well, anyone want to take a stab at that, Mr. Griffin's question?
Well, and it could be including the site plan, and we have a legal description. The site plan includes land that they won't own that is shared parking, like under the power lines there with the, I think it's the existing road that goes across. And so that's land they would not be owning.
That's still part of the site plan.
Because it's shared parking. It's parking for aquarium, it's parking for high five, but it's going to be improved on offsite improvements essentially.
Yeah.
I would go by the legal description that we have on this agenda item.
Okay, yeah, that's why I was asking. I didn't know if it had been expanded for parking or some other thing, but it's hard to tell,
Sure.
compare one picture to another, but
That's fine. Any other questions for Mr. Trout or Mrs. Nolan related to the amendment of this lease? All right, very well. We are still on item 4. If there's no further questions, we can entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you both very much. We have a proper motion and second on item 4. Let's vote, please.
Murray? Yes. Griffin?
yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Montgomery?
Yes.
Chairbox?
Yes, sir. Item 5 is the consideration and appropriate action relating to resolution number 90. A resolution of the trustees of the Jenks Aquarium Authority declaring that certain real property is neither necessary nor useful for its purposes and directing the execution of documents to release said property from the trust estate, securing the authority's debt obligations and containing other provisions relating thereto. Page 92. Mr. Stroud, Mrs. Nolan. This is the surplus action we just discussed. Any further questions from the trustees for either Mr. Stroud and Mrs. Nolan? No, Mr. Montgomery.
Just a quick question. That's the same legal description. I didn't look at it line by line.
Yes, that is the same.
Okay.
Get fine. Any other questions? If not, we will entertain a motion on item 5.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you both very much. Proper motion, the second item 5 vote.
Murray? Yes. Griffin?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Brown? And okay. Montgomery?
Yes.
Chairbox?
Yes, Mr. Oxopoulos, you want to fly like a black marlin through this?
Like a turkey.
Something faster, please.
You bet. Thank you, sir. We were roaring into January with attendance and revenue way past 2022, and we were ahead of 2023. This weather event has kind of beat us back down, so we have some ground to make up. Going back a little bit, because I never was able to have some updates for a while. Black Friday memberships sales, we beat last year by over 28%, which is incredible. Splash is scheduled February 24th with tickets on sale now. OAF has raised over 35,000 in sponsorships so far, which is, I believe we're ahead of last year. Some of the projects, just some updates. The pollinator garden is basically complete. We are lumping in the Circle of Honor
install as well. So we're waiting on some final quotes on that for the bricks. But of course, it's all covered in snow now, but in the spring, it should really be impressive. It's an amazing garden. The construction on our new aquatic research center is moving forward. The installation is now complete on the underground utilities, and they're working on the pad. They did hit a gas line right before this major weather event, which was a lot of fun, but that got rectified at the last minute. Construction drawings for the south bathrooms, remodels complete. The quotes that we're getting in is extremely high. We're way past our budget. However, I do have a construction company that I am familiar with, and they actually were half the amount. So we're back to being excited again. The sign for the south side of the building has been installed. I hope everybody's seen it and liked it. The light-up sign, Oakland Aquarium on the Turnpike. And then the sign that was there, that was the mistake, got moved a little further south. So it actually worked out really well for us. Staff is getting ready to replace a broken acrylic pop-up tube in the Amazon exhibit. Ann and OAF has raised $30,000 from Subaru for STEM nights. It's our educational Tuesday nights. $150,000 from the Hardesties for the Jellyfish Touch. This is in hand, by the way. $100,000 AEP Jellyfish Wall in Amazing Invertebrates. So that's really cool to get kind of a retro sponsorship for something that's already been built. $30,000 from the Oxleys for the Sea Turtle Endowment. And up to, we've already received $55,000 from OPP. And that's what I have right now, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Any questions for Mr. Alexopoulos?
Thank you.
Very well. Time is 5:50. I don't think that clock even moves anymore. It's 5:58. We are adjourned. Thank you for your service. Happy New Year to you all. everyone. If you can take a seat, we'll get started. Happy New Year to everyone that's here tonight. Welcome to the first, well, technically the first regularly scheduled meeting of the Jenks City Council. Today is Tuesday, January 16th of 2024. It is 6:05 p.m. My name is Corey Box. I'll be your chair for tonight's meeting. Looks like we have a full house, so without further ado, Mr. Macy, if you could please verify our attendance, sir.
Brown. Here. Klein. Present. Short.
Here.
Emmons.
Here.
OJ.
Here.
Murray. Here. Mayor Box.
Here, thank you, sir. For tonight's invocation, we welcome Pastor Dave Wynn from Jenks Church. And Pastor, haven't seen you in a while. Take the opportunity to tell us what's going on at the congregation. Anything exciting you want? The floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Lots of exciting things. I mean, much like the rest of Jenks, we're growing, right? Which is a great thing, and excited to be a part of the community and help the schools, help the folks here, and had a great end of the year helping out families in the community with Thanksgiving meals, partnered with the school to do that, and that's always a great event. So yeah, just appreciate you having us here tonight.
Does the Thai Club still exist?
It does not.
What?
The group that was doing that at our building relocated. And so
Oh, really?
I haven't got back into a new school system to get that up and going again, but
All right.
look forward to that opportunity
Yeah.
at some point.
Very well. Well, please lead us in prayer.
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, we just call on you tonight. You've elected and put folks in place to lead us and guide us, and God, that has tremendous impact in our lives and our circumstances. We ask for wisdom. We ask for guidance. And God, we ask for patience and understanding, as public forums are not always easy. And so tonight, God, just give everyone a sense of calm, of vision and wisdom. But God, at the end of the day, you guide us, you lead us, and you continue to help us make wise and honest decisions. God, tonight we just thank you for your presence. We pray all this in your Son's name. Amen.
All right, I see a man and a friend, so that means we have an animal welfare spotlight tonight. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Reed. What do you got for us, sir?
Hello, Mr. Mayor, Council. Tonight we're introducing Rory. Rory, this little mixed breed girl, is a real success story. She was running up and down Main Street from the east end of town to the west end of town for months, and probably dumped, scared, would run if anybody so much as looked at her. So she became a walking skeleton. Almost caught her a couple times when she got so weak but she managed to muster the strength to run away from me. We finally had a citizen that got her acclimated to coming back to a vacant house by leaving food for her. And we were able to set our trap, big dog trap there, and caught her. And this is one of the best parts of the job, is being able to take a dog that is just afraid of everything and everybody and then turn them into this. She is just an absolute doll. Now that she knows nobody's going to hurt her, she is just the sweetest dog you'd ever want to meet. She's been meeting a lot of the people here, and she gets along with the other dogs. We also worry, street dogs like that, we worry about heartworms, but luckily she is tested negative for heartworms. She's got all her vaccines. The only thing we have to do is get her spayed when we have an adopter sign on the dotted line, and we are still waiving adoption fees. So if there's anybody that would like to meet her or any of her adoptable friends, adoptable friends, as always, they can contact us at the police department at 918-299-6311 or email at animalcontrol@jenksok.org.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Good luck to you, Rory. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're moving on to citizens' comments or public comments, if you will. At this particular point in our meeting, the council invites anyone in attendance, if you'd like to come forward and address the council on any topic or subject that is not on tonight's agenda, you are welcome to do so. We ask that you please give us your name, your address, and if applicable, the entity that you represent. The floor is open, public comments. Good evening, ma'am, and Happy New Year to you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. Charlotte Montgomery, 10612 South Fir Avenue. In December, I had made public comment, and I had 3 asks related to open meetings and transparency. And because I made public comment, I thought I should do some kind of response, and there has been very positive responses from staff on that, and so I wanted to update you. The first ask I had was to include the chamber report in the JPWA agenda packet, and the city clerk has said that what he will do is he will attach that report to the minutes of the next JPWA meeting. So in your JPWA packet this evening, indeed, there is the chamber report, and that was from the month of December. The second ask I had was to have the OMAG representatives make another presentation similar to the work session of November 14th, but recorded. Well, come to find out, the meeting was actually recorded. So that icon is out on YouTube with a link, and it's in the Agenda Center under City Council November 14th, 2023 work session. So that was done. On my third ask, it was to have all public meetings such as bond committee, TIF committee, work sessions, etc., be recorded and available through the YouTube. Most all of those meetings occur during the lunch hour, and most people cannot make that, and a lot of people have interest in that. I now have a commitment from staff that they will do so. If that doesn't happen, then of course I'll probably be up here making another public comment. I also wanted to let other citizens who are tuned in understand how much progress has been made in this area of open meetings and transparency. I first started coming to meetings back at late 2012. I had to come for council meetings on Friday at 5 o'clock because as they were leaving, they put with a piece of tape up in the window here what the agenda was going to be for that Monday, because the council used to meet on Mondays. I couldn't come and ask, there was no website, there was no available agenda items to click on to see what that item was about, any packet materials. So you had to come down. The City Hall upstairs was not open until 9 o'clock, so you come down at 9:01. You'd get hold of someone, you'd have to fill out a form, and you'd pay 5 cents a page for a copy. You didn't know what to ask for, and I had to be able to read that and have hopefully intelligent questions to ask by the time the council met at 7 p.m. That's how it used to be. Now everything's click, all the agenda materials are there. It's easy to put in requests for additional materials through the city clerk. I have, from my point of view, nothing but compliments and where that system is at nowadays. I also now more fully understand after I went to the Attorney General workshop on open meetings and records, you don't have to do any of this. I also understand from going to that OMAG session, you don't have to do any of this. All you have to do is go post an agenda at the front window and come to the city clerk, fill out a form, and hope he has time, he's not in a meeting or sick, to make copies. So I'm now grateful that you support that and for the transparency and the open meetings, and I will try not to take that for granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll take a moment to tell the staff that one of the council's New Year's resolutions for all of you is to continue to strive to be the best customer service organization we can be. Run this place like a business, like every citizen is paying you. They pay our bills, so that's how we treat them. For those of us who live in the corporate world and live and die by the customer, we want you guys to feel the same way if that's possible. I know it's always not, but that'd be a resolution we pass on to you from council. Let's continue to strive to be better, always improving. Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else? Public comment? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Allen, 14326 South Broadway Street in Glenpool. I know that might be a little odd. I'll get to that. And I'm currently the commander for VFW Post 9126. In addition, the reason that I'm here is I'm actually here as a representative of the hopefully soon to be officially recognized Jenks Veterans Advisory Council. I'm here with Peggy Evans as well. She's another member of the council. And we've been actually doing quite a bit of work. I know that Mayor Box has brought up this council on several occasions. And we are finally at a point where we can really kind of take this council public, and hopefully we can do a lot of great things for veterans in the community. One of the things that I do want to read to you real quick, because we've been doing quite a bit of work on what's the purpose of this council, what are we going to be doing, and basically what we have come up with is the Jenks Veterans Advisory Council will support, work with, and be a liaison to the mayor, city of Jenks, and its leaders so that the voices of veterans and patriots alike can be heard. Quarterly forums will be held to provide a platform for veterans and the community to raise awareness to veterans' needs and concerns while also working with the community to promote veterans' events and activities. So I'm basically here tonight. So hold on, I gotta find this. And I'm asking the city to recognize us as an official entity and hopefully that we can receive support both online and through social media. That's it.
Thank you, Commander. You have been recognized. And for those of you on council who may not know, if you go to Veterans Park and you see the markers that we have in place that represent the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers, that lady sitting right there next to the Commander Allen is like 90% responsible for every damn good veterans event we've had in the last 24 months. It's not me. I could just stand there in uniform and speak her words, but that woman is responsible for all of it. So we do recognize you, and I will work with Mrs. with Katie, oh, there you are, to make sure that you guys have access and space online. And for the general public, the first meeting of the Jenks Veterans Advisory Council will be January 23rd in that room next door at 6:30 p.m. And I will be stepping out as a member of, I can't be a member of the council that advises me, so it'll be the first time that I'm in that other capacity. But if you are a veteran, if you care about veterans, or you want to serve veterans, or just want to be involved, that'll be the first opportunity to do so. Thank you for your service, and thank you for everything you do. Appreciate you. Public comments, anyone else? Okay, very well. We'll close the floor to the public. We'll move on with tonight's general business. Of item number 1 is the consideration and appropriate action of our consent agenda. If any council members would like to remove either items A through F or A through G for further discussion, you may. If not, we can entertain a motion for approval as a whole.
Make a motion to approve as
Second.
presented.
Thank you both very much. We have a proper motion and a second on item 1. Let's vote, please.
Brown, Yes. Klein.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Emmons.
Yes.
OJ.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes, and for those of you that are curious, whenever we unanimously approve item 1, that's why we always pull item 2. Item 2 only matters when we have a discussion related to item 1. Thank you for your interest in understanding our protocol. Moving on to item number 3 is the appointment of Rob Sellers to the Jenks Planning Commission for a term ending on May 1st of 2025. We are on page 103 of your packet if you're following along, and we welcome Mrs. Hilton for the first time this evening. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. Thank you for this opportunity. The Planning Commission has had an open seat for a couple of months, and we've had applications for probably, been receiving applications off and on for about a year, and I know that the Planning Commission schedule is very busy, which means that your schedule is very busy, and we needed to get that seat filled. Mr. Sellers has submitted his resume, and I recommend that to the mayor, and the mayor has spoken with him and is asking that Mr. Sellers be nominated today for the seat that was vacated by Mr. David Randolph.
Thank you, Mrs. Hilton. Does council have any questions for Mr. Sellers, or would you like to bring him up here and just introduce him to our hazing process? What do you want to do? Anyone? Okay. The vice mayor would like to meet you, Mr. Sellers, so please come forward and accept your punishment. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, introduce yourself to the world, and let us know who Rob Sellers is.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I'm Rob Sellers. I'm a 40-year CPA in the Tulsa area. I've been a variety of experiences from staff accountant all the way to CFO and everything in between. Do a lot of volunteer work around the community. Have lived in Jenks for 3 years. Have lived in the South Tulsa area for 45 years. My kids were lifers at Jenks Public Schools. They got great education. So we've been a part of the Jenks community all the whole time. So, but my interest in just doing this is because I want to give back to the community. I live here now. I see good things happening. I want to be contributing to those good things and to make good decisions that will help us to grow and provide a community where people want to be.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions from Mr. Sellers? Comments? Anyone? Very well. Thank you, Mr. Sellers. Have a seat. I would say, and as a part of being more transparent this year than ever before for people who want to understand this process, first thing I would tell you is the number one attribute is a willingness to serve. The Planning Commission takes a beating, and they are a first line of defense for most hard decisions that come to the City Council. It's a very thankless job, and there's very few people that want to do it. You still want to do it? Okay. Somebody poke me if you see him leaving. Another parameter that I look at personally is I'd like to find Jenks Leadership Academy grads if I can. We typically weed people out when we ask for a resume. Most do not want to submit one. And then there's a few other parameters that we take into consideration. In this particular case, as long as I've known Rob, he made it clear to me years ago that he wanted to serve this community in some way. There is not too many ways you can really serve the city of Jenks outside of election or appointment or the Board of Adjustment or committee work, which is very infrequent as it may be. So Mr. Sellers has been waiting for quite a while, and that was in his willingness to serve. You should know that we make every effort to find a geographically based member to serve on the Planning Commission. We are out of balance on the Planning Commission. We are not legally allowed to be out of balance on council, but on the Planning Commission we are. If we weren't, we simply wouldn't have enough planning commissioners to serve. So please understand that we do everything we can to find somebody that lives in Ward 1, but that's not always possible. So if there's no further questions or concerns, I entertain a motion for the approval of the appointment of Mr. Rob Sellers to fill the Ward 1 vacancy on the Planning Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We have a proper motion and a second to approve item number 3 in this appointment. Vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Emmons?
Yes.
Ogier?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Sellers. That's your new boss. Make friends. She'll tell you when to show up. Thank you. Appreciate you. And if you don't want to do it a year from now, let me know. My feelings won't be hurt. All right, moving on to item number 4 is a public hearing for the petition for annexation of property located at 2912 West 111th Street. Mr. Macy, and we are on page 109 if you were following along.
Mayor, thank you very much. Early last, or probably mid last year, Amy and Holmes came in and annexed this parcel right here and the one to the west over here for an intended development. They were hoping to get this parcel. They were eventually able to, and so they would like to annex that in as well. They do have a current PUD application that'll be on the agenda for Planning Commission on Thursday. That'll encompass this entire region, and Amy and Holmes would like it to be inside the city of Jenks, so they would like to annex this parcel.
Thank you, Mr. Macy. Any questions, comments from council related to item 4?
Is there current buildings on that property?
This particular parcel, I believe there are. I can't recall. I know there's one on this one and this one, but I can't recall on this one. But they bought the property outright, and the intent would be to, if there is a house, they're going to wipe it.
Anyone else, council? All right, it's a public hearing. Close the floor to council. Anyone from the public have a comment, concern related to item number 4? Thank you very much. No comment from the public. We will close item number 4. Entertain a motion for approval.
Number 4 is just the public hearing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 5, ordinance number 1638, annexing 2912 West 111th Street into the city of Jenks, Oklahoma, and extending the boundaries of said city and providing for severability. This is the ordinance basically for item number 4 that we just discussed.
Make a motion that we approve this ordinance to incorporate that annexation.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a proper motion and a second on item 5. Let's vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Emmons?
Yes.
Ogier? Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, item number 6 is emergency clause for ordinance number 1638.
Motion to approve.
Second. Thank you both. We have a proper motion and a second for the emergency clause ordinance number 1638. Let's vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Emmons?
Yes.
Ogier?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes. Item 7, potential executive session. For the purpose of confidential communication between a public body and its attorney concerning a potential claim or action, where the city attorney has determined that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the public body to process the claim or conduct a pending investigation, litigation, or proceeding in the public interest. 2, to confer on matters pertaining to economic development, including the transfer of property or the creation of a proposal to entice a business to locate within the city of Jenks, where public disclosure of the matter discussed would interfere with the development of products or services, or if public disclosure would violate the confidentiality of the business as allowed by said law. Related to TIF number 3, the reimbursement to the soccer fields on Elwood Street. My only request of whoever writes this, can you throw some more commas in there next time? And if there's nothing else, we need a motion to enter executive session.
Motion to enter executive session.
Second.
Thank you thank you much. Let's vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Emmons?
Yes.
Ogier?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you. We will return as soon as possible. votes were cast. Appreciate your patience. Moving on to number 8, Resolution 823, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Jenks, Oklahoma, approving a retention agreement with the law firms of Edelson PC and the Indian and Environmental Law Group for representation of the city in the investigation and litigation of the claims resulting to PFAS contamination and opting the city out of the existing 3M multi-district litigation settlement. Last minute questions from council. Okay, very well. We can, no. Motion on number 8. No, ma'am, my apologies.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a proper motion and a second on item number 8. Let's vote, please.
Brown? Yes. Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Emmons?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Murray? Yes. Mayor Box?
Yes, but we will get your question answered.
You will.
Well, either I or he, or her. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to the city manager's report, and then we're going to kind of blast through these, and the council is going to request a 5-minute recess for a bathroom break, and then we'll finish up with Public Works. Mr. Shroud.
Mayor and all members of council, our total sales, vision, and use tax collection for December was up significantly over the previous month and the previous year. It was a 7.5% increase from the previous month's deposit, a 7% increase from the same month the previous year. And so now, I know I accidentally wrote decrease, but we have a 0.18% increase for the same time period fiscal year to date from the previous year. This is good news as we, I think the first month of the fiscal year was July, and we saw an increase in every month since that month. We were having year-over-year decreases in sales, vision, and use tax collections, but I think we're back on track largely because of Ace Hardware and Roy's Chicken, and then there's some other items that I can't remember off the top of my head, but Robert knows if you want to ask him later. And I think that we're going to continue to see some increases with Frontier Justice opening, O'Reilly's opening, and obviously, hopefully by the beginning of next year, we'll have the Outlet Mall opening in August, and so we'll be good. But anyways, I think that for the second half of the year, that management is going to hold expenses in check and make sure that this continues to trend in a positive direction. We have some updates on your sheet here about some construction projects and then upcoming events. Tomorrow we have the Jenks Chamber Luncheon at noon. The INCOG reception for elected officials is tomorrow night from 5:30 to 7:30 at OU Tulsa. And then we have the Jenks Chamber Annual Banquet on Thursday, beginning at 5:30 at River Spirit. If you have not registered and want to attend any of these events, please let Sarah Tackmill know. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Shroud. Any questions from council for Mr. Shroud? Thank you. Thank you very much. Any council members in lieu of committee reports, any updates you'd like to share with council or public? Go ahead and light your mic and, okay. All right, mayor's report. I would say I think we may get to the point, or we might be at the point where I would ask one of you to consider being our primary or my alternate to represent us at INCOG. INCOG is, stop me if I'm wrong, Mr. Shroud, it's once a month. It's downtown, 6th and wherever. And you're typically meeting with people from all over various counties, city councils, representatives, lots of multi-county kind of information. Typically only takes about an hour or so of your time. If anyone has an interest in helping, that'd be great. Mr. Shroud is the alternate. And I, as much as I love going, it's becoming difficult to make them all, and I don't want us to never be represented, because we do have a good seat at the table as the city of Jenks. If you have any interest, talk to Chris about what those details are, and we can make that official. no pressure, but it'd be nice if we always had somebody in attendance. There, to the public and to you guys, there is a lot of interesting legislation coming to the House and the Senate in the upcoming session. I'm going to start providing highlights to some of that legislation. And if you guys are welcome of that and the public's welcome, we'll do that. But it's an opportunity for the city to, or me in this case, to tip you guys off to things I would hope you would pay attention to, and that might be of interest to our residents. So we'll start doing that next month. For those of you that wonder what I'm talking about, if you subscribe to the Oklahoma Municipal League's email updates, there's a lot of interesting things that are potentially going to become law, and if you knew about half of them, you'd be on the phone right now. So we'll start talking about those things in the very near future. I've said it earlier, the first meeting of the Jenks Veterans Advisory Council is coming up January 23rd, in the room across the hall at 6:30. And to the public, we're going to have before COVID, I used to do town halls, whatever you want to call them. Our next one is this coming Saturday at 9 o'clock at the Jenks Restaurant, the diner. Primary purpose is to introduce some of our new counselors, so we will have 3 members of council there, so if you weren't invited, then please do not attend, or we cannot have a quorum. This will not be recorded, there is not a YouTube video, I'm not bringing a camera, and I'm not asking staff to provide professional services. This is old school, sitting around and talking and taking notes and listening to our residents. So fair warning if you want to be there. And I think Mr. Brown and Mr. Emmons and I agree that if you show up, we're happy to pay the coffee bill. Deal?
Sure.
Deal? We pick up the coffee tab, creamer and everything? Okay. So look forward to seeing you guys if you can make it. Other than that, the time is 7:40 and we are adjourned. Take a quick recess. We'll be back and we will wrap up. Thank you. Call to order the Jenks Public Works Authority.
Brown. Here. Klein. Present. Short.
Here.
Emmons.
Here.
OJ.
Here.
Murray. Here. Chairbox.
Here, yes, sir. Item number 1, consent agenda. Anyone like to make a motion on item 1?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you both. Let's vote, please.
Brown. Yes. Klein.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Emmons.
Yes.
OJ.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Chairbox.
Yes, item 2 will pull as a result. Moving on, number 1, Mr. Stroud, anything additional for your general manager's report?
No, sir.
Very well. Then
I would like to
Yes, sir.
thank the public works crews and public safety crews during this winter event that we've had over the weekend. I think they've done a great job.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Matter of fact, today I was walking up and down Main Street while Landon was at Allgood to get a haircut, and I noticed that the sidewalk on the north side of the road, benefiting from all that sun, is totally clean, but that poor south sidewalk is a disaster. So I'm sitting there staring out the window, and all of a sudden I hear this super loud noise, and I thought, how cool is it that our public works guys, instead of just throwing salt and shovels, they have giant blowers, and they just blow the you know what out of the snow, and it just shoots right onto the street or wherever else it goes. So right in front of me to clear the sidewalks. Never thought about doing that. So yes, I echo. Tell our folks down there that we appreciate them doing the best they can on our roads. All right, the moment we've been waiting for. Item number 2, we welcome Mrs. Heather Turner from the Jenks Chamber of Commerce for our monthly chamber report. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you, Council. I'm glad you all got a bathroom break to settle in. This is going to take a while. Okay, if you'll look at your report, I have several upcoming events. We're kicking off 2024 with the pedal to the metal. Of course, tomorrow is our State of the Schools with Dr. Butterfield. And so we're, I think, sold out for that event tomorrow. We're excited for it. The very next day, January 18th, we'll see hopefully some of you at our Jenks Chamber Banquet and Best of Jenks Awards ceremony. So we utilize this ceremony every year to install our board of directors and also to celebrate the Best of Jenks. So the nominations can come from the public. They've had the chance to nominate Best Retailer of the Year, Best New Business, and the list goes on and on. So we'll get to honor our businesses, but also our leaders and people who have contributed to our community with community impact awards and things like that. That's tomorrow, or Thursday. January 19th is the New Direction International ribbon cutting. And so you all know Pastor Tommy. He's done the invocation here lots of times. I hope that you'll show up for his ribbon cutting. January 23rd is the new patisserie ribbon cutting, and we'll also have Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell will be at that ribbon cutting, if you'd like to join us. January 25th is the Emerge Jenks Young Professionals Happy Hour at the Cape Brewing right here in Jenks. The 26th, that Friday in January, and every fourth Friday actually coming up while legislation is in session, or are our legislative luncheons. So, of course, we'll have our state representatives, Lonnie Sims, State Rep Mark Tedford, and Senator Cody Rogers at that luncheon. We'd love you to come out. And then January 30th, Network Jenks at the Ranch. So we hope you guys can make it. Economic development efforts. It's only been a month since we've talked, but we've actually done a decent little amount of work in the last few weeks. We've got some Main Street businesses reaching out for different incentive applications and working with Marseille and the city on that. We had some Simon Mall updates and Camp Pickle updates and some things that they're working on. But a really fun thing that I just got back from is the U.S. Chamber puts on Institute for Organizational Management, and so this is my second year to go. You do intensive, actually 24 hours. I just did this last week of professional development on economic development. And so I attended the classes on advanced economic development strategies, and that was led by the president CEO of the Economic Development Authority and Chamber for the city of Conway, Arkansas. They've done some really incredible things. And so I was just showing Robert some of the strategies they use and really cool, innovative ways to fund projects. And then economic development and placemaking for downtown projects was also another, several core classes were on that topic, which is very relevant since we're working on a downtown master plan. So that was fun and very intensive, but good. We hosted interviews with 3 local developers, and so why did they choose Jenks, the site location choices that they made, their perspective about incentives and the role that they're playing in today's market, and whether or not they felt it was beneficial to partner with the chamber when they're looking to do business in Jenks. So those videos will actually go live at the banquet this Thursday, and then we'll share them with the public. Community collaboration, we hosted our morning mingle at the Jenks restaurant, and it was really fun. Mayor was there. Jenks Public Schools, of course, State of the Schools tomorrow, and we're also hosting their art students. We have another local artist that's featured at the Hive. We'll kind of stop. You can kind of see some of the legislative things that we have coming up. Our Government Affairs Committee resumes on January 22nd. Legislative luncheon, like I already mentioned. Our Leadership Jenks went really well on January 9th, and so thank you to those of you who came, and Kevin Short came out, Donna Auger came out, and of course our mayor. I'm sorry I can't invite everyone or I'll get in trouble for creating another quorum. And so thank you though for sharing with our Leadership Jenks. We got so much positive feedback. They loved it. You were approachable, you were informative, they got to ask questions, they got to hear from your perspective. And like Mayor mentioned earlier, you like people to go through this program. So this is the purpose of the program, for them to learn about how do your roles work with one another, and what is your role in council? How did you decide to run for council? How the election process work? All of those questions. And then how do you work with your state representatives? Why is it important to have relationships there? So you guys were really approachable, but also informative. So thank you for spending your time. Marketing and tourism, another video that you'll see at the banquet is Follow a Family Through Jenks. We partnered with 11 or 12 different businesses and sites around Jenks to do a regional tourism video. And so we have a family that lives in Jenks, and we followed them and their 2 kids to the aquarium and to a whole bunch of different spots in Jenks to show people that, yes, we have other things coming, but we have things to do right now in the city of Jenks with your family. And so that will go live at the banquet and then be promoted not just locally, but we will promote that regionally to places like Conway, Arkansas. No, I don't know about that, but maybe Little Rock or something. Okay, we're working on the community calendar. We're waiting on a few entities to get us all of their dates. A fun little tidbit about our 12 Days of Christmas. We did a bingo thing for any Main Street merchant, and really anybody, any merchant in Jenks could participate. So we had 16 or 17 businesses participate in the Main Street, in a bingo. And so what we did is we said, okay, the aquarium gave like a family 4-pack, the chamber and the mayor threw in some like $200 worth of gift cards for local restaurants in Jenks. And any family that decided to go to any merchant in Jenks who had the bingo card, they got their name put in the drawing to win the family pack. And 106 Main donated a $100 gift certificate to Lulu. So it's kind of a cool, $500 value gift pack. Well, I didn't know, we drew a winner. Okay, cool. But Frontier Justice, I went and did a little interview with them. And they said they had the highest sales on the one item that they did the 25% off with the Jenks bingo, the highest sales of any of the other locations of Frontier Justice, the highest sales of Carhartt, which a lot of places in Tulsa sell that, highest sales of Carhartt in those 10 days, and then they did the rest of the time selling Carhartt since they've been open, and so they were really thankful to have that opportunity. So that's what marketing does, that's what cross-marketing does for our businesses, and hopefully that contributed to the growth in our bottom line for sales tax revenue. In December, you're welcome, Robert. That's all I've got. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Heather. Anyone have any questions for Mrs. Turner? Don't leave just yet, Mr. Short.
With school closed tomorrow, are they still having the?
Distance. Oh, yes, we're still having the thing, but that's a good point. It is a distance learning day, isn't it?
Yes.
For Jenks Public Schools. And so we'll see how that impacts people showing up, but yeah, that's a good point.
Mr.
I
Klein,
didn't
are you
think about
guys
it until
closed
you
tomorrow?
just said it right now.
GPS is distance learning tomorrow?
Yeah,
Most of the area schools are.
yeah. That's a great point, and I'll probably make a text right now.
Can you let us know in the morning if we should show up?
I'm like, I might need to, let me check on that.
Yeah.
As of right now, we're still having it. Yeah, we just got that message just a little bit ago, so we'll find out.
Good
Yeah.
idea. Good point.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. You want this back? Okay, last call for council. Any other closing comments? Anything else? All right, very well. It's 7:55 PM.